We're extremely excited about the teams that are going to be presenting here this afternoon. But before we do that, just a couple of quick comments. Now, so here's how it's going to work. We're going to have comments in between the teams. It's going to be a rapid fire kind of an affair, and so I promise that I will get around to introducing our esteemed judging panel here in a moment. But before we do that, I wanted to welcome President of the Colorado College, Jill Tiefenthaler, to make some comments. Thanks, Jill.
Welcome. It's great to be here for our third annual Big Idea competition. I just want to open by saying some words of thanks. And first of all, I want to thank Patrick Bultema and Jill Lang, the program manager of the Innovation Institute. They have worked very hard this year with teams, doing lots of mentoring and building new programming in our Innovation Institute. So thanks to both of you. I also want to thank our Vice President Brian Young and our Faculty Advisory Board who have been working on not only supporting the Big Idea and Patrick, but some of the new programs in the vision for our Innovation Institute. And I also want to thank our judges for taking the time to be with us today. They have a lot of knowledge, expertise at this table. So I want to encourage our students who are here today at the breaks or after to get a chance to know some of these folks, because there's much you can learn. We're also fortunate with us to have some of our alumni and members of our community who've helped mentor these teams, and I want to thank them for the work that they've had in mentoring our students. It's really wonderful to see the whole community come together in support of our student entrepreneurs and social entrepreneurs. Not surprisingly, I'm a firm believer that the liberal arts is the best way to prepare today's students for tomorrow's problems. And a rapidly changing world means that our young people today need to know the value of seeing things from different perspectives and be experts in collaboration and communication. And the only way that we can prepare them for this future, for jobs that don't exist, for the problems that don't yet have been put out there, is to develop nimble minds, comfort with ambiguity, skill at writing and speaking, all qualities developed by the liberal arts. And what our foundation of strong liberal arts foundation is coupled with co-curricular opportunities like the Big Idea that encourage our students to put these ideas into practice, I believe we have a special winning formula. Great students, the highest quality liberal arts education, some strong alumni, faculty, and staff mentoring, and then get the competitive juices flowing with a big event and a cash prize, and I think we have a recipe today for creativity. That's the Big Idea. So today is both the highlight and the culmination of a year of work. This is the third year, as Patrick mentioned. We have 10 teams, 28 CC students, and 5 alumni mentors. And today we get to celebrate their success, but always remember, regardless who wins, that the process is the most important part of this competition. So I'm excited to be here with all of you today. I love the spirit of innovation that's on this campus, and it's great to come together to celebrate our community today. Thank you, and thanks for joining us.
Okay, so a quick overview of the process. We have 5 teams. Each team has up to 10 minutes to pitch, and it's a hard cutoff. So all the teams are targeting 7 to 8 minutes. The additional time is available for 5 plus whatever time they don't use during their presentation for questions from the judging panel. The cheering sections, each of the teams have encouraged teams to come to cheer for them. And so cheer with your team, but know that the main competition is going to be at the end of the evening. Between each of the teams, we'll have some quick announcements and information that'll give the next team time to stage up. And during those times, we also have some drawing for some prizes. And CC students, you have to be here to win. There's 3 $50 Amazon gift certificates. There are $2 $150 for outdoor education. And then Mountain Chalet has been generous in contributing a $500 gift certificate to Mountain Chalet. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go, but thanks to Mountain Chalet for that. At the end, there will be a rooting section. We'll have a competition. We'll have the grand prize drawing for the Mountain Chalet certificate. And then we've got a really unique opportunity to hear, it's a great innovation in the humanities, critical karaoke. And so they're going to be part of the program as the judges step out to deliberate. And then finally, we'll have award checks, and $50,000 will be issued or seed funded to the teams before we leave here tonight. So great ideas, great teams, great presentations. It should be a fun process and money to boot. And again, it's been an exciting year to be involved with. So first up is Idro. CC student team members presenting are Frederick Linseth and Jeremy Harlem. Gents, take it away.
All right, so my name is Fred.
I'm Jeremy, and we are Idro. We are developing fully automated hydroponic systems. This is an exciting sector of the industry to be in because it is ripe for innovation. Last year, venture capitalists and private equity firms invested over $2.5 billion in ag tech, and this surpassed investment in clean tech, and this was up 170% from the year prior. Why is this happening? Well, this is a large industry that has not been given enough attention, and it's ubiquitous to so many consumers. We're excited because we can start off by focusing on the home and consumer markets and then potentially expand into commercial and international markets. But there are many ways that we can grow a big business. You may not know this, but gardening is America's #1 pastime. Last year, 42 million Americans grew food in their own homes, with 15% of food coming from urban areas. Organic, non-GMO, farm to table, these are all things people really care about, and it's because it provides that aspect of safety and health to the food industry. But this is not the only reason that this is not the only factor affecting people's behavior. People love gardening. It makes them happy, and this is proven by science. But as we also know, plants are very difficult to grow, and some are much more difficult to grow than others.
And the reason that these plants are so difficult to grow is because plants are extremely sensitive to their environment. There are a lot of moving parts, including watering. How much do you water your plants? How often do you water your plants? How much fertilizer do your plants need? How much light do they need to grow? And at what temperature do they grow best? These all leave a huge opportunity for failed plants, and that's why we feel there's an opportunity to develop an affordable, fully automated hydroponic system to help anyone grow anything year-round. Whether you're at work or halfway around the world on vacation, you can be sure that your plants are receiving optimal growing conditions. We hope to accomplish this by combining cutting-edge hydroponic technology with the Internet of Things and world-class industrial design. The components that will go into our systems include the systems themselves, which will come in a few different sizes that could be applied at home and potentially in commercial markets in the future. And we will also be considering the option of selling our hydroponic controller separately. So you can attach this to an existing garden. It'll come with the necessary sensors and actuators to automate your growing experience. Finally, we'll be offering a line of consumables, which will include our proprietary water quality control cartridges, as well as our grow pods that will contain any one of over 1,000 plant seed varieties that we offer. So the way it works to our consumer is extremely simple. Say you want to grow tomatoes. All you have to do is plug the water quality control cartridge, as well as the tomato grow pod, into your system, open our app, tell your phone what you just planted. Your phone will then communicate with our database of extensive plant growth parameters, find the exact parameters for that type of tomato you just planted, relay that information back to your system, where your system will use that information to control every aspect of your plant's life from seed to harvest. Our water quality control cartridges and grow pods fit right into our systems, making it as simple as plug and grow. So our app is also extremely easy to use. As I said, all you have to do is open the app and tell us what you planted. From there, watch your plants grow, and our app will prompt you with questions so you can give vital feedback in order for your system to further optimize the growing conditions your plants are in. Additionally, you'll be able to share your plant's progress through social media, so your friends can also monitor your plant's progress. And once you harvest, you will literally be able to share what you've just grown by posting some of your harvest to a trading board. If you cannot find someone to trade with in your area, we will ask you to consider donating your food to a local shelter. So currently, our competition offers semi-automated hydroponic systems, but this still requires a lot of intervention and a large amount of knowledge and time from the user, which leaves a huge opportunity for failed plants. This is why we're developing a fully automated, affordable hydroponic system to help anyone grow anything. My name is Frederick Lindstedt, and I've been absolutely obsessed with hydroponics since I was a junior in high school 6 years ago. I received a grant in high school, which I used to install a hydroponic garden in my mother's house, where I grew various varieties of lettuce, basil, tomato, and jalapenos year-round. I then graduated and came to Colorado College, where I became a biology major with a focus on plants. Jeremy Harlem and I decided to enter into the first year of the Big Idea 3 years ago. We won $2,000 and used this money to develop a few prototypes as well as install a few systems in local residents' homes around Colorado Springs. We also have had the opportunity to talk to local businesses and restaurants, such as the Olympic Training Center, and what they've told us is that once we have a fully automated hydroponic system, they're interested. We also recently took first place at the Colorado University Startup Challenge, competing against schools such as Denver, Boulder, and the Air Force Academy, and we are currently seeking seed funding of $200,000 to $300,000. We are also currently in communication with a world leader in industrial design that has expressed interest in our product. We are open to talking to other firms, but what we're really looking for is an industrial design firm that has a proven track record of bringing successful consumer products to the market that have caused large disruptions in their industries. And Nottingham Spurk has done this time and time again. And they also have established relationships with retailers. So our sources of revenue include our systems, which will come in a few different sizes, ranging from a countertop system to a large-scale producer system for a large family or restaurant, and we're aiming to make around a 50% margin on these products. But what really enhances the lifetime potential of our customers is our consumables, because every time you want to grow something new, you have to buy either a new grow pod or a new nutrient cartridge. Additionally, we plan on attacking the market first through early adopters, through the web, catalogs, and as seen on TV channels such as QVC. Once we're established in early adopter markets, we'll be able to lower our price points and bring it to mass merchants such as Home Depot and Lowe's. Our funding plan begins here today, and we'll ask for $25,000, which will allow us to develop the first version of our app, allow us to build a financial model, as well as further develop our product strategy. This will position us well for our seed funding round of $200,000 to $300,000, which we will use to begin the industrial design process, build a better prototype, develop the second version of our app, look at marketing and sales strategies, as well as build an initial team and refine our financial model. And all of this will position us to move into our Series A round, where we will use the money of $2 to $3 million to complete product development, build the third version of our app, as well as attack our early adopters and prepare for our Series B round. So thank you, and I hope you're as excited about this opportunity as we are.
7.5 minutes. So judges, questions?
I'll start. Congratulations on coming back. I'm back too, and so I remember you guys from last year, and you've made great progress. I come from water-starved California. Can you give us some numbers on what it really costs to do a tomato? You talked about tomato. What's the cost of a tomato versus buying a tomato down at the local market? How many gallons of water per tomato? Have you done all that work?
So
can we...
the amount of water that your system will use isn't exactly clear, but I can tell you that systems like hydroponics use 10% of the water used in common land agriculture. Okay. And as far as how much it would cost to produce in the system versus going to a store and buying it, so it's obviously not the quickest way to get a tomato, but what it does do is it increases space efficiency. Hydroponics is actually 18 times more efficient per square foot than traditional agriculture. And if you buy one of our $20 tomato grow pods, you will get more money, or you'll get more tomatoes from that than you would if you went and spent $20 on tomatoes at the grocery store that were of the same quality.
Okay, great.
Yep.
Just a quick question. As you're talking about the social media aspect, it seems a little bit of a distractor as you're creating new platforms or potentially sharing. Why the emphasis on the social media aspect?
We know that people love growing their plants, and we also feel that they want to share that progress with their friends. And not only does it provide the benefit to the user of kind of engaging with the system a bit more, and as you want to share the progress of your plants with your friends, you are interacting with the system, but also for us, it works in the way that people are basically advertising their systems on social media for us. And so their friends can see, wow, Jane Doe just harvested 20 tomatoes in 3 months, and they're as fresh as can be. I want to do that too.
Does it take away from the craft when it's kind of a plug and play, right? Like when people grow in their garden, it's like, here's my labor of love. Mm-hmm. I'm showing that off, as opposed to now this is plug and play. You're going to get awesome tomatoes because of the system.
So part of the feedback that the user provides to our systems will also end up asking the user the size of the plants and kind of just the overall morphology of the plant. So we could say to increase efficiency or increase overall yield in the end, prune your plants here and here, things like that. So you're still engaged, but a real huge problem is that 90% of abandoned gardens are abandoned because of failed plants, and that's the real problem that we're trying to address. We're trying to make it so anybody can grow whatever they want, whenever they want.
Thank you.
Go ahead. Sorry. No, go ahead.
So I'm the ringer. And honestly, if you can grow a gardenia for me, you can have all of the money. Because I've been trying so long. I am exactly the guy who I hit 35, I took up gardening, I spent, oh my God, I have no idea, in my tiny backyard in Davis, California, where the soil pH is 8, which doesn't make anything easier. Yeah. Would I walk in and I now live in Santa Monica in an apartment, I don't have a garden anymore, I am exactly the guy who would see this at Ace Hardware and buy it, 100%. I bulk a little of tomatoes because unless you have tiny, tiny tomato plants, but you've done this. People who grow their homegrown tomatoes do not mind spending twice as much money growing them as they would buy them at the store. Homegrown tomatoes are more than twice as good as the crap you buy at the store. There's a song about it, right? There's only 2 things that money can't buy. It's true love and homegrown tomatoes.
He's doing his pitch.
So I'm totally all in, and here's my one thing. Executive summary, you can't. It's still got typos and spelling mistakes, and you can track changes wasn't turned off. You can't. This was such a strong pitch, and the visuals are so professional, and the words.
I think I may have sent you the wrong version of that executive summary then.
It's possible that there is not the right version, because everything else about the pitch is so clean, although I'm with you. I think that the Farmville thing is distracting. But you can't have the pitch doc be.
I will give you my copy. There are 7 typos on this version of misspelled words or misused words, and that would have been a major turnoff for me. The presentation is fabulous. I have a couple of comments. I'm assuming you're going to design your own grow chambers, right? And
the industrial design will take care of that.
Right. The issue is success will be your failure, because if you succeed in this, you're going to get an order from Walmart for $2 million worth of inventory, and Walmart won't take your order if you can't fill all the stores. And so if you're going to do this correctly, you're going to have to line up a funding source for that core inventory. This is also, I'm very impressed, it's a razor blade play. You don't need a 50% margin on the chambers, you need a 5% margin, because your consumables will be a 90% margin. Your seed pods are going to cost you in large quantities probably less than 20 cents to produce, and you're going to sell them for $6. Mm-hmm. Okay, and then the nutrient stuff was similarly. So, and then one other comment is, I think you do have to focus very narrowly on one market. You can't say consumer and commercial. If you're going
that's what we said, that we potentially will expand into it. We're not exactly certain what our plan is at this moment. We're open to our options, but also as far as your Walmart comment, This goes into our Series B round, which will potentially be up to $10 million to establish that distribution network to be able to facilitate those larger orders.
Right.
Any other questions or comments or feedback, judges?
Just one quick one from me, just having seen you guys present before, there was this idea of water recycling, reusing. That seems to be absent in this product, or is that
Well,
still...
that is just built into the concept of hydroponics.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Any other comments? Great. Good job, Idro. So while the next team is staging in, let me take just a few moments to introduce our judges. First is Heather Carroll. Heather, wave to folks. Heather's an alumna and a current Board of Trustee member of the Colorado College. With over 20 years of experience in grant making in the public and private sectors, she's the president and executive director of the Joseph Henry Edmondson Foundation, a private foundation serving the Colorado Springs, Pikes Peak area. Heather's a founding board member of Atlas Preparatory School and currently serves as board chair of the Great Outdoors Colorado Trust Fund. Next is Tony Rosendo. Tony? Tony is also an alumnus of Colorado College and currently serves on the Board of Trustees. Tony has been involved in education since 2002 and has worked with students in ECE through college and worked in private, public, and charter schools. Most recently, Tony started a local charter school called Atlas Prep that serves a high percentage of low-income ELL and SPED students. As the co-founder and managing director, Tony has been recognized for his work by winning the Lottie Award for Entrepreneur of the Year, and the school was recognized by the El Pomar Foundation as the Nonprofit of the Year in 2014. Tony, glad you're here. Next is Scott Smith. Upon graduating from Colorado College in the 1970s, Scott devoted himself to environmental issues, actually serving as the speechwriter for the president of the Sierra Club. His interest in the environment drove him into law school. However, upon graduation, he developed a keen interest in business. During the 1980s, he was a successful mergers and acquisitions lawyer. In 1990, he opened the venture law practice of Pillsbury Winthrop in Menlo Park, California, and began a career in advising and investing in venture stage technology companies. Later, at Credit Suisse First Boston, he focused on technology IPOs. Since 1998, he has run a merchant bank in San Francisco with offices in Greenwich, Connecticut, Beijing, Shanghai, focused on technology, healthcare, and renewable energy companies, and he remains deeply committed to environmental causes. So Scott, glad you're here. Next up is award-winning novelist Sean Stewart, one of the world's most influential digital storytellers. As a writer, designer, and producer, he co-created the alternate reality game genre of digital entertainment and has served as the lead writer on I Love Bees for Halo 2 and the Year Zero collaboration with 9 Inch Nails. So he might be the coolest guy here today. He published the world's first transmedia novel, the international bestseller Kathy's Book, and won a Primetime Emmy Award for the transmedia comedy Dirty Work. Sean recently served as the creative director for Xbox Studios with Microsoft and has founded 4 companies devoted to new kinds of storytelling. Sean, glad you're here with us. And finally, let me introduce Bob Seelig. Bob is a CC alum and a long-standing and current Board of Trustee member. He's president of Davis Instruments Corp. In the Bay Area. And many of you, if you've been, I actually, when I was a cadet at the Coast Guard Academy, I think I used Davis Instruments on shipboard equipment. But home weather systems, lots of very familiar products. And again, he founded the company 46 years ago with a fellow MBA from Stanford Grad School of Business. Living in the heart of the Silicon Valley, Bob engages with a wide range of entrepreneurs, both as an advisor and investor. And his ongoing community commitments include over a decade of leadership at the Ronald McDonald House at Stanford, Stanford Associates, Stanford Medical Center, And he also supported Vida Verde, outdoor education, since its founding by Colorado College grads in 2002. Vida Verde provides overnight educational outdoors in nature experiences for school kids who otherwise wouldn't have this opportunity. So you can see we have just a great diversity and wealth with our judges. And we are waiting on technology. So now, I'm not going to tell any bad jokes. We'll wait momentarily. How are we doing there? Okay. Okay, great. Tell a joke. So, yeah, I don't have any good jokes to tell. Does anybody have a joke that they would like to tell here? Let me tell you a little bit about the big idea. I'll give some information from the next. Let me give you a little background on what's happened here with the Big Idea program. Many of these teams, and again, one of the premises here at Colorado College and of the Innovation Institute is to help students who are getting a phenomenal liberal arts education be able to translate the value of that education into the whole kind of innovation, startup style, entrepreneurial world that we know so many of them will be successful in. And so we're weaving this theme of innovation throughout the program at the college. And that's kind of a core mission of the Innovation Institute, to take great ideas out of this kind of fertile environment of the liberal arts, put them into action to realize real impact in the world. And so that's been an ongoing process. The Big Idea is just one element of that whole business of weaving innovation into the experience of Colorado College. And it gives us this focus of a beginning, a middle, and an end, ultimately a competition where you stand up on a stage with the bright lights on, hoping that your computer will come back to life and function. And so it's that intensity of that experience that really gives kind of a focus around doing real things. And one of the premises is that by doing real things, by being involved in startups and having people that are there as mentors and some from more of a creativity background and some from more of a practical application, that experience of doing is one of the best ways to do learning. And so throughout this year, we've had many speakers and mentors and others involved in helping the teams develop their ideas, but also really develop as people in this creative class world that increasingly represents the opportunities for what our students will do after graduation. And, well, thank you. And you're getting close to having a functional presentation as I'm vamping here. Yeah, and so here, just so everybody knows, we tested everything yesterday at 2 o'clock to have time, and then we tested everything today at 3 o'clock. And somehow the tech gremlins, I think one of the ideas would be if you can come up with a way to overcome the AV gremlins, you'll make $1 billion doing that. So, are we getting close? So let me tell you another element of the program this last year is many of you may know that we've had this wonderful, robust legacy of service and engagement to the community in a soup kitchen that was hosted at Shove Chapel. We recognize that probably wasn't the best model playing forward and that there was great opportunities. And so one of the other competitions that we did this year was called the Soup Project Challenge. We ended up with 4 teams that presented as part of a final process. And by the way, you can see all 4 of those teams out in the lobby. So on your way out today, those teams as well as a Big Idea team will be there. But it was really innovation to say, how can we make a difference in the community, engaging on the themes around food security and homelessness, and really enthusiastic about 4 very innovative and unique teams that are now in kind of ongoing operation in the community. So that's been part of, so really this year, from the perspective of teams doing startup activities, we had a total of 14 that started with the Big Idea and now down to the 5 finalists. And there was 8 teams on the Soup Challenge that ended up with the 4 finalist teams, which incidentally received $41,000 in seed funding for local social innovations around the themes of homelessness and food security. is generally not a good sign, yeah. Well, I think are we getting close here? Yes, we are. That's okay. Let's go with what we got. Yeah, we'll not quibble on this side right now. So next up is Friendlier. Presenting today are Soren Walls and AP, otherwise known as Anubrat Prasai, thus the AP. Gents, you're on.
Thank you, Patrick. So you'll have to guess about some of the financial models that appear on that side, I guess. We'll tell you. So a couple of weeks ago over spring break, AP and I went to Silicon Valley, and we were visiting some of my friends at Stanford that I hadn't talked to in a long time. And I was talking to one of them, and to my surprise, he's also double majoring in computer science and theater, which is my majors. And I was like blown away, and we bonded over that, and now we're good friends again. But it got me thinking, if we share such similar interests, how did we drift so far apart? So that's what Friendlier is for. It's a mobile app that helps you keep the connections you've made by reminding you about the contacts you care about, but have probably forgotten. And even if you didn't forget, it helps you start meaningful conversations. I'm Soren Walls, the CEO of Friendlier, and this is my buddy, Anubrat Prasai, the CFO. The third member of our team is Kirby Walls. He's a talented graphic designer with experience in the software development industry. And he is responsible for designing the user interface of the mobile app and the website. I'm the developer of the mobile application, and AP handles the financial and legal side of the business.
So my friend Soren already talked about this a little bit, but we're going to be more explicit about what the problem is. And then we'll talk about how our mobile app tries to solve that problem. And then we'll give you technical details on how the app works and how it is relevant to you as a user. And then we'll talk about the business and revenue model that's cut off there. And then we'll talk about how much we're pitching at the big idea and where that will get us. And after that, we conclude and open the floor for questions. So this slide shows the average number of friends people have on various social medias. I personally have more than 1,000 friends on Facebook and more than that on my phone. And every now and then when I scroll through my contacts to talk to some of them, I find several other people that I haven't talked to that I would like to be in touch with. So that begs the question, why haven't I been in touch with them, right? So it turns out that it's humanly impossible to maintain that many active relationships at a time. Famous anthropologist Robin Dunbar found that just by nature of being human, we have a limit of maintaining 150 active relationships at a time.
So Friendlier also takes advantage of some anthropological and psychological research done by Seth Godin. He's an American entrepreneur and a best-selling author. His idea of tribes goes back 50,000 years, and it's about leading and connecting people and ideas. It's about finding groups of people who feel disconnected but still have a yearning. And the important thing to note about tribes is that they also typically have a limit of about 150 people, the same as Dunbar's number. After that, it gets hard to manage. So what Friendlier does is it helps you manage bigger tribes. It helps you keep connected to more people without sacrificing the quality of your relationships.
And the way Friendlier does this is by giving you a nudge. So researchers from various universities have found that people are more likely to take action if they're reminded about it. Research from Columbia University found that giving parents of middle and high school students a nudge about their children's status in school increased the rate of homework completion by 25%. And there have been several other research that have come to the similar conclusion. And it makes sense, right? Remember the time you forgot to take the trash out and your mom is reminding you and then you actually follow through it? It's the same principle.
So Friendlier gives you a nudge with a push notification every day. Our theory is that if modern technology can help you make more friends, why is it not smart enough to help you keep more friends? So Friendlier is our solution to this dilemma. It's how we will help people expand their tribes and ultimately be friendlier. So how does Friendlier work? Here's how Friendlier. Whoops. Every day, Friendlier sends you a brief notification reminding you. Friend. In the app interface, you see a list of 3 to 5 friends. Here's how Friendlier helps you keep your connections. Every day, Friendlier sends you a brief notification reminding you about a friend. In the app interface, you see a list of 3 to 5 friends that you can scroll through with just a swipe.
These friends are intelligently selected using an algorithm that considers contextual information like birthdays, location, and SMS history. Since you might not be up to date with all your friends' activities, Friendlier helps you decide how to start your conversations by giving you several pre-typed, personalized messages to choose from. Or you can easily edit them to write your own message. The messages can be sent via the social media platform of your choice, whether it be SMS, Facebook, Twitter, or something else. And once you're ready, all you have to do is click send, and Friendlier takes care of the rest. You rack up points for each message you send, and your friends will be happy to know you're thinking of them. Then, just get on with your day. Friendlier. Keep the connections you've made.
So you heard me in the video mention an algorithm. Well, this is how the algorithm works. The first time the user downloads the app, the first time it's opened, Friendlier collects data about that user's contacts, such as the date and time the friends were last contacted, their birthdays, and any events in the calendar that the friends have been invited to. Then Friendlier attempts to collect more information from social media that their friends might have made available, such as their location and interests. Friendlier uses this information every day to generate the list of 3 to 5 friends that appear to that user. A similar process is used to generate the pre-typed personalized message for each friend. And push notifications are sent at convenient times during available slots in the user's calendar when they're least likely to be busy. The app's also intended to be cross-platform, which means that right after we release for Android, we intend on releasing an iOS version with the same features and very similar functionality. And this is very important. Along with the free version of the app, we intend on releasing a premium version. This version integrates LinkedIn, Google for Work, and email. And it's intended for power users and networkers, like AP and myself and many people here. This version will allow for grouping of contacts into different tribes, keeping notes on your conversations and your contacts, as well as scheduling messages.
So this is how the revenue model kind of looks like at the moment. We anticipate a monthly subscription of 99 cents a month for the premium version of the app. The model assumes we start with 1,000 users with a 10% growth rate of user base per month and 5% paid to free user ratio. So one of the key things to note here is the cost goes up from 10,000 to over 200,000 in year 2. And that's because we expand our team and we start paying salaries. And that's where the most of the cost goes. And that is obviously after we've acquired our round 1 funding. Another thing to note, which is kind of missing, is the milestones. That's what it says, milestone numbers. So, so our milestone with our current assumption is that if we have 500,000 downloads of the app, out of which 5% pay for the app, so 25,000 paid users, then we become ramen profitable. So we make enough to sustain ourselves while we're paying the salaries for the team members. Obviously, this is not set in stone, and as we gather more data during our alpha and beta phases of testing, we'll learn and adapt to our customer feedback and decide on a financial model.
So our competitors include Bond, an iOS app, Pickled, an email reminder service, and an app called LinkedIn Connected. They're all young and quickly gaining traction. Well, it's great to see that other apps are trying to implement the same ideas. These apps actually do not attempt any automation whatsoever. LinkedIn Connected attempts to suggest relevant connections, but it fails to provide advanced automation features such as pre-typed personalized messages. Furthermore, these apps fail to provide some of our biggest selling points, such as integration of multiple social networks, appeal to both personal and professional users, as well as gamification.
So this is where we are right now. As you saw in the video, the app is well into development, and we'll be releasing our alpha version within the next month. We have a landing page ready where you can sign up to be an alpha and beta user. And then we're pitching for $15,000 at the big idea, and we'll be using the money to buy hardware to test our app on different devices, on Apple and Android devices, paying for legal fees, establishing LLC, and we're also in the process of filing a provisional patent so that we can test the market before we proceed with a patent application, and some soft marketing. And this will set us up to release the app in the stores, Google and Apple Store, and gather market information and finally be ready for our round 1 funding. And that's what the goal is.
So let us worry about the logistics. Be friendlier. Go to friendlierapp.com, sign up today, and keep the connections you've made. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. job friendlier. Judges, questions, comments?
Well, first of all, I'm impressed that Beyonce and Ryan Gosling are among your friends. Can you, I hope I don't sound like a Luddite, but can you please provide more details regarding your market research? Who's your target market, and is there a need for this?
Okay. So the need, so right now, well, we haven't confirmed the concept as in like whether consumers would actually want to use it, and that's why we're doing the pitch at the big idea is exactly for that reason. But we have some kind of idea, given the research, is the potential that we would want to keep more contacts, and because Facebook, LinkedIn, all of these, everywhere it's connections nowadays, and you would want to maintain that. So that's the concept, and that's where it started. And we have some research saying how nudge helps you, act on it. So that's the proof of concept. Does that kind of answer the question?
Just to follow up on this, I do this all the time because LinkedIn says, so-and-so got a new job, do you want to congratulate them on the new job, or like that works. One thing I thought, it's probably right to work on Android first over iOS. Is just such a larger market share at a lower price point, which is where you're going to start. Developing for Android is a nightmare because there are so many different sizes, screen resolutions.
Yep.
Exactly.
And everyone complains that you don't support their HTC 2007 port, and, whatever. But it's still probably the right market to be in. You're probably already here, but one thing you might consider doing is releasing in a test market. Like, don't release it in the American App Store. Release it. Games traditionally release in either Canada or Ireland, so that you can find all the failure points in the places that people hate or where they drop out before you put it in the U.S. store, so that your star rating doesn't have to live in your major markets, doesn't have to live through the growing pains of the stuff you screwed up the first time.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah, thank you for the suggestion.
Yeah.
I wish my wife were here. She's the social person in our family. I can keep track of my 5 friends. But I'm a pretty good businessman, and reading through this, you've got spreadsheets, but for some reason, maybe I didn't dig there or spend enough time. I couldn't pull the numbers together very well. I couldn't come up with an internal rate of return or an exit strategy and so forth. But it looks good, and I'll just tell you a quick story about my grandson, who actually, you've heard of Snapchat. He did that. He invented that before it was done, but he didn't really do it. He was a student at Columbia University. They did it, but he was too busy in school. He was playing football, so he didn't have a sense of urgency. And guess what? The Stanford guys did it. The point I'm making, and I told him, I will back you, quit school, Justin, you can come back, you could buy the football team. When it's over. They don't win any games anyway. The point is, if you're
Columbia football.
So if you're serious and you think you know how to do it, maybe you should just do it, right? And take a break and get on with it, because if you don't, someone else will. It's just a matter of months.
Yeah, actually, to kind of add to that, we were just in San Francisco talking to some of the tech startups to gather more data on how the startup works and what are the costs and all of that. Thank you.
I have 2 comments. The first is you also need to address the CRM system, so Salesforce and Oracle. The nudge is very good for personal, but the people are only going to use this if it also works for business, and that's all in Salesforce. And secondly, I think this is a good idea if it works well with LinkedIn and the CRM systems. I don't think you can create a 3rd or 4th platform. So you have to invert back into those systems. So if I send a nudge, I need to see that in my Salesforce CRM. It can't be the other way around.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
Yep. And as far as CRM goes, there are actually 2 companies, Contactually and Relate IQ, that do something very similar. But yeah, thank you. Thank you for.
And then the only other comment is, this is the challenge because it's a very limited number of exits. There are only a handful of companies that will buy you. Now, that doesn't mean this isn't a good idea, because those companies, if you succeed, will buy you. But LinkedIn, Oracle, and Salesforce are about the only companies that are going to buy you if you succeed. Or Facebook. but that's a small universe.
Just a comment and a question. I think, it seems that, a lot of us set reminders and nudges for ourselves. I like to set my push-up reminder every day at 6 p.m. And now I don't do any push-ups. As a guy who works out a lot, I wonder if nudges will inevitably end up being inconsequential because they occur too regularly, just as a concept on nudges. And then I wonder, as you kind of quote Dunbar's number of 150, can you actually break that number, or are you trying to get the 150 into larger buckets of 150? So like now I'm doing general messages to 150 people to create a tribe that only messages 150, and then the next group of that is another group of 150 to get me to 300. But by citing Dunbar, it seems like you can't necessarily break that, right? Like regardless of the nudge.
Yeah.
And doesn't Facebook kind of already do some of this stuff with smart stuff where you're liking certain things and they're showing you more propensities on who already, who you want to look at, who you want to know?
Okay, I'll briefly answer the first one. In response to the first part, I think that, wait, sorry, can you repeat it?
The nudges, will the nudges be inconsequential?
Oh, yeah.
Will they drift into nudges?
And then breaking Dunbar is the part that you perked up.
Breaking Dunbar, yeah, okay. So the idea is that people have 150 friends that they can manage successfully unaugmented. So the idea is that this is a utility to help you sort of increase that without sacrificing the quality. Because I think part of, and this is what the research has shown, is that part of where that limit comes from is the logistics and the scheduling involved. Like it's mind-boggling. And so if you have something that handles that all for you, it makes it possible. We're also attempting to sort of not only increase the 150, but help you optimize them. That's another big part of it.
Yeah.
Do you want to add something?
No, go ahead.
In response to the Facebook thing, going back to what some of the things I said about the competitors, Facebook does not integrate multiple social networks. Sure. So like if you have professional contacts like on LinkedIn and all that kind of stuff, it's kind of the usefulness is kind of lost.
Yeah.
So we're not trying to be a social media platform, but rather like help all of them be more useful.
Yeah.
To you.
Great, good job, Friendlier.
Thank you.
So the Big Idea program and theme of innovation is possible this year because of the vision and support of a number of people here at Colorado College. Of course, we're all very grateful to the leadership and vision of President Tiefenthaler and of the Colorado College Board to make innovation a central emerging strategic theme and commitment of the college. Thanks to the Innovation Institute Board, Jill mentioned briefly, but I'd like to actually call out a name. Serving as chairman is Brian Young, and the faculty members are Jane Hilberry, who I saw there, Mike Tabor, Henry Fricke, Dan Johnson, Marie Davis Green, who I think is in New York City, Eric Paramond, and Steve Hayward, as well as Career Center Director Megan Nicholas and Associate Dean Emily Chan. And as we've worked to give form and definition to the board of the Innovation Institute program, and I'd also like to recognize the affiliate programs that are involved and working to really drive this theme of innovation and collaboration forward. PIFP, venture grants, the idea space, and by the way, there's a new exhibit on your way out if you want to poke in and take a look at the idea space, State of the Rockies, Ashoka, and of course the Big Idea. But I'm also most grateful to the many faculty who have been so supportive and involved in the program and involved in supporting students. Finally, I've had two individuals that have been deeply involved in helping on a day-to-day basis. One is a new hire to the college, Jill Lang. Jill, wave. She's the program manager. And then Hunter, and Hunter's got great news because he just got into a fully funded PhD program at the University of Colorado Boulder in entrepreneurship, one of the top entrepreneurship programs. So thanks to all. I'm also excited about, and actually, are you guys all, wow, finally, good to know. So without further introduction, let me introduce Kadi Energy, and presenting our CC team members, Paul Mickey and Usama Al-Naji. Paul Mickey Akbabli, and then a CC alum, I always butcher your name, don't I, Paul? I'm so sorry. Samantha Barlow. Team, take it away.
Hi, my name is Paul. This is Usama, and that is Samantha, and we're Kadi Energy. What we do is simple. We provide reliable energy to people who need it. Okay, raise up your hand if you have a cell phone with you today. Wow, that's pretty much everyone. Well, in my home country, Ghana, the same portion of people would raise their hands. And yet, last week, a pregnant woman named Idro died because she could not contact an emergency medical center. Why? Because she could not afford to charge her phone.
Mobile phones are essential tools to Ghanaian livelihood. In addition to the classical uses that we have for them here in the United States, they're used for everything from farmers checking crop prices to families transferring money instantly between villages and cities. But the key piece that's missing is access to power. Most Ghanaians go to charging stations like the one pictured here to charge their cell phones or other mobile devices. And for a variety of reasons, these are very inaccessible, hard to reach, and very expensive. Ultimately, millions of people in sub-Saharan Africa are faced with two choices when it comes to accessing power. They can either pay 380 times what we pay for the same services here in the United States, or they can go without it.
Well, we're here to fix this problem because we believe energy is portal to prosperity. Introducing our Ray product line. Our products are portable, affordable, solar-powered, and have a superior battery technology.
We have a great product, and that's why we've attracted many distributors. Our first one is Buro, who is the biggest distributor in all of West Africa, and they've partnered with us. The second channel we have is through our own direct sales agents. And the third channel we have is nonprofits and NGOs who have their own channels as well. There are three ways that we aim to create an impact. The first is an income generation. This is done in two ways. The first one is through our Entrepreneurs in Residence program. This takes in talented, young, and entrepreneurially spirited young Ghanaians. I said young twice. Ghanaians. We teach them the ins and outs of business and the energy sector as a whole. And then we equip them with Kadi products so that they can operate and own their own micro-enterprises. The second way we aim to create income is through our Kadi Ray product line. By using our products, our consumers are going to save at least 20% on their energy consumption bills every year. The second way we are going to create an impact is through our nonprofits and NGO partnerships. NGOs and nonprofits are kind of famous for spending a lot of money and then not being able to create an impact because of their unsustainable model. By partnering with Kadi Energy, we help them create that sustainable push that they need. Finally, we give people energy access when and where they need it.
So a quick search on Amazon reveals around 90,000 competing products. But the questions that come to mind is, if there are all these alternatives out there, why do people in sub-Saharan Africa still have to travel long distance to find somewhere that could charge their phone and have to pay 30 cents every time that they need to charge their phone? We have three core ingredients that makes it better to tackle the problem of energy. First, we have a dynamic distribution channel that comprises strategic partners and philanthropic partners. And this is to ensure that we get our product to everyone who needs it. Secondly, we have an intimate knowledge of our end users and have tailored our product specifically to their charging needs. Finally, and most importantly, our superior battery technology lasts twice as long and charges 1.5 times faster than any power bank out there on the market.
We feel really fortunate with the support that we've already received for Kadi Energy. Our Indiegogo campaign that wrapped up in January raised $3,000 over our original goal, and it was also a great publicity moment for Kadi Energy Company. We were featured in various tech blogs and news sources, including our very own Colorado Springs Gazette, and it really helped garner attention from organizations such as Grameen Foundation, which has already requested 5,000 units of our Ray line products. In addition, we are really honored to have received support and endorsement from the Clinton Global Initiative and the President of Ghana, President Mahama, who spoke to Paul on the phone a couple months ago. Because of the support that we've received, we've been able to sell 1,000 of our Ray 10 units already to our distributor in Ghana, and as you can see, there's already some eager buyers. In terms of market opportunity, there's a lot to say here, but essentially there are 800 million people in sub-Saharan Africa who don't have reliable access to electricity. And it's not just the rural poor, it's people who are high-income individuals as well, who live in urban settings and are subject to frequent blackouts, oftentimes long-lasting. And so our market really expands to all sectors in Ghana and sub-Saharan Africa. Our goal within the next 5 years is to reach 1 million of these people.
So this is the CADI roadmap, but I'd like to point out the fact that we're not exclusively a power bank company. Right now, we see a lot of value in mobile phones, and so we developed this charger to solve the problem of mobile phone charging. But in the next few years, we're introducing new products to solve problems in different sectors of the Ghanaian economy. But essentially, by introducing this product, we are driving towards our prime goal to address the energy situation on a much larger scale.
Here are our financial projections. We are set to make a profit at the end of our second year. Our biggest expense is going to be in manufacturing, but that's set to come down as we produce more and more products. We're also planning to raise $300,000 in a seed funding so we can help manage these manufacturing costs. With $30,000 today, we'd be able to service 2,000 people. We already have our manufacturers lined up. We already have orders, thousands of them, on the Ghanaian end that we can't fulfill, such as with the Garmin Foundation that Samantha talked about earlier. If we're able to get the funding we need today to cover the capital, we'll be able to start making revenue and start making an impact starting today.
So this is the team behind CADI Energy. Myself, I'm an innovator, and I develop the products myself. And I also have strong business experience, having co-founded the graduate program, a highly profitable student-run business in Hong Kong. And I also have deep connections within our target market, which is critical for the future of this company. Essentially, we need to scale up. We need to enter new markets. We need to think about new business strategies, which is where Usama's strong skills in terms of business development comes in. But also, within our target market, we know very well that people tend to buy products that are marketed to them the best and the most. And so Samantha, Erica, and Rachel will be filling in that role, and they've developed unique marketing strategies that will help us reach our end users. But we also have 20 boots on the ground team in Ghana and 3 administrative staff that are running the operations in Ghana. So we believe with our superior product, our unmatchable strategic partners, and our deep passion to bring reliable energy to people who need it, that we've created a truly big idea that you should find today. Thank you. And that's the rest of the team.
Power banks are somewhat of a commodity product. Mm-hmm. I didn't quite understand what is proprietary to you guys and what makes yours exceptional. Why is it going to sell better than the other 50 versions?
Okay, so that's a good question, and I already acknowledged the fact that there are many power banks out there on the market, but they seem not to address the problem. Because we are thinking a lot of them have the solar panel mounted on top, and though this is great for the US market because the panel size is very small and can fully charge your batteries in like 5 days. So you buy a solar power bank and then end up always charging it from the wall outlet. And we thought a different model is that design where you have the power bank and we give you the option to either charge it from the AC, and we have a cable for that, or we give you the power bank. And that combination, we think, is critical to the problem. But also, we have different charging needs. In the US market, you have all of these products, and then they are targeted to like different people. But we have different products for different charging needs. Like the biggest, the Ray 40, has 28 charging ports, and we're trying to create a micro enterprise with that. Our Ray 40 has 4 charging ports, and that's for big families like my family, where we have 10 phones within our family. And that is not something that is common to a lot of companies in the US that are doing the same thing.
I want to add to that also. A lot of the companies that we compete with kind of operate on the fact that Africans probably can't afford, to pay $100 for this type of product. So it inherently becomes a cheap product that they have to recycle, every couple of months. Instead, we've raised the price point than our competitors and created a product that will last them, at least 5 years. So I think that's where I think we are also different from all of our competitors.
I want to compliment you. I think you have a really good business plan. There was absolutely no ambiguity from my perspective. You have the passion. You certainly have the channels covered, distribution, contacts, all that kind of stuff. I happen to know one of the competitors pretty well, Delight. They actually, Ned was at Stanford Business School. He was trying to raise money from us and also sell through some of our channels. But what they did is they spent 6 months in China in back alleys building relationships, down and dirty, trying to disintermediate. Because what your problem, I think, is you've got a lot of middlemen. If I looked at these costs, the spread between the manufacturing cost and the landed cost is huge. That's all middlemen, and you can disintermediate that pretty easily, I think, and get scale. What they also did was they said, the hard part is the channel, right? Mm-hmm. You have the channel. They have more products. They have a spread of products. You know that, I think. Yeah. So they have more to sell, right? Mm-hmm. Salesman needs a bag of products to sell. It's just easier. So I think you should be thinking along those lines. I think your Asian initiatives have to be really strong. I mean, people there in the trenches, so to speak. I'm sure you go, I don't know if you go to CES, but there's a whole complete hall that's devoted to this stuff, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know what's there, whether it's backpacks or otherwise, but I think you're headed down the right path.
Yeah, and I want to go with what Bob said. I think when I read this this morning, my first question was why Ghana, and I now understand why. I think you have to answer that up front, which is you have to say, I'm from Ghana, I know the market, that's my entry point, because it's very odd to just suddenly see Ghana. I mean, it's not the first market people think of, and then you go from there to more of Africa and then to other places. I'll tell you this anecdotally. We launched Star TV, which was MTV for Asia, and we launched it. And within 12 months, we had 44 million users in rural India and China. And these were people, not one of those households had electricity in their home, but they figured out a way to get it. So this will work.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much for those comments, and Mr. Selig as well. Those are things that we're definitely thinking about.
And I think just a basic question from me, probably just from the layman side. I mean, I am right there with that. Just wondering, is there a tech gap where if you can't get power, and this is a device that's for cell phones primarily, I'm thinking next level, like should there be something else? Because is there a tech gap if you can't get electricity? Do you have network? Do you have, I work in the southeast side of Colorado Springs, and I can plug my phone in all the time, but I can't get connectivity. I can't call my wife at home in the southeast part of Colorado Springs. So I'm curious about the network and that tech side and the tech gap.
Yeah, so, I'm from Ghana, and network is great. So, yeah, so.
Done. I'll leave.
So the problem is, you've got these multinational companies like MTN, they've got all the money and they're extending their network to all these rural parts, but the key missing piece is energy. So they extend it, people have mobile phones, but they don't know how to charge it, which is where we come in, and that is the problem that we're trying to solve.
Yeah, and another thing that's really interesting too is people who don't necessarily have network do oftentimes travel for work, right, to places where there is network, and mobile phones are used for all kinds of business, in addition to social purpose, business purposes. So people will oftentimes have cell phones that they can't necessarily use in their home villages. And so people still have cell phones need to charge them even if they don't necessarily live in areas with coverage.
Can I ask a really dumb question? Because a lot of this is very impressive, and I totally understand the need. It sounds to me, and I think I just missed something, that if there are a wide array of other chargers on the market, but yours is better, but why haven't people already, like, why are they going to charging stations? Like, if there is a solution for portable chargers, and you were saying, people use them, but we have a better one, I would understand that. But I don't understand, if they're there in the marketplace, why aren't they being bought now? Especially if they're there for a lower price point than the one that you're offering.
Yeah, so that's an interesting question. And my simple answer is it's all Amazon. All of those products are on Amazon, but they don't make it to the end user. Because there's someone in a remote area in Ghana who doesn't even know how to order on Amazon, and Amazon services doesn't even get there. And even if they get access to some of their product, we did 1 year of market research. And their main concern is that my mother bought 2,000 solar products since I was growing up, and none of them lasted more than 3 days. So what they do is that they send the quality ones to the US and send the cheap ones to Ghana and Africa, thinking that these people cannot afford it. And I grew up there, and I know that we can afford it, and that is sort of the model that we are trying to build.
So your key competitive advantage is really your distribution.
Yep.
Your
And the
ability
product
to
as
put
well.
the product where people can buy it.
Yeah, I was just about to talk about that. Distribution is really key. So we have 3 like I talked about. So if you're in rural areas, we can reach you with our sales agents. If you want to go to the mall, we have Bureau who distributes to stores. And if you can't afford it, then we have the nonprofits who are going to give it to you for free. So we reach every single person that needs it. And like Samantha talked about, that's everyone from poor people to rich people. Everyone needs this.
Great job, Kadi Energy. So another emerging theme of innovation that has been somewhat of a discovery and something we've been excited about here at Colorado College this year is the whole focus on the outdoor industry. So CC students, for those of you who are kind of starting to think about what you want to do after graduation, how many of you would be interested in being involved in the outdoor industry? A bunch of hands. Yeah, that's one of the things that we've heard over and over. And so we've created partnerships this year with the Outdoor Education Program, have done a number of things really focusing on innovations in the outdoor industry and all the themes of environmental studies and sustainability and concern for the environment coming together. A major theme that we're going to be focusing on as we go forward, and part of the reason too why we were happy when the new ownership of Mountain Chalet was happy to kind of participate and contribute. But this year we had a number of outdoor innovators. We're going to have more things along those lines coming up this next year. And along those lines, Chris, come on up. Chris is the paraprofessional in outdoor education, and he is going to do the first drawing, and we've got 3 $50 gift certificates for Amazon. So,
thank you, Patrick.
First up.
All right, so students, get out your tickets. And the first prize is going to 659394. Do we have a winner? All right, come on down. Awesome. The next $50 gift certificate to Amazon is 659377. Yeah, come on down. All right, mix these up a little bit. And remember, if you don't win, don't lose your ticket. We have 2 more drawings. And finally, 659366. Oh, yeah! A winner one way or another. Thank you very much, Patrick. Let the show go on.
Thank you. Next up is Benny. Guys, take it away.
Hi, my name is John Sylvester. I'm a sophomore computer science major.
I'm Dan Keogh. I'm a sophomore math econ major. This is our iPhone app, Bene, short for benevolent.
Remember a time when you were really stressed out? Maybe you were going through a bad breakup or you're about to make a potentially life-changing decision. Who'd you turn to? Where'd you go for advice? Sometimes these issues can be a little uncomfortable to talk with friends about. Sometimes friends aren't available, so then where do you go? Well, that's why we created Bene. Bene connects people who are looking for advice with people who want to help, and we do this through a one-on-one, safe and anonymous chat.
So let me just run through the competitive landscape we're entering. So we see ourselves as an anonymous app. 100% of user interactions are anonymous. So we look at other anonymous apps like Yik Yak, Secret, and Whisper, and the unprecedented growth that they've been able to experience over the past year and a half as a trajectory that we'd like to follow. More specifically into this anonymous advice-based market, we want to differentiate ourselves based on a couple of our core values. We want to emphasize that we have a two-way anonymous chat. This means that both the identity of the person helping and the person being helped have their identity protected. We also want to emphasize we want to be as easy to use as possible. If somebody downloads the app, we don't want them to have a hard time navigating it and finding our core features. So a couple of our two truest competitors are Kindly and 7 Cups of Tea. Kindly is an app that released in July of 2014. They offer a one-way anonymous chat, which means the identity of the helper isn't protected. And then there's 7 Cups of Tea, a Y Combinator graduate. They've had a website since 2013. They offer a ton of great web resources. However, this website first mentality is really reflected in their application. It's not very intuitive. The user interface is hard to use. And another point about these two applications is that they're really seen as an alternative to therapy. We just want to provide a platform for everyday advice.
Our mission is to provide quick and simple advice to our users, and that is shown right when they open the app. They're greeted to the helping/I want advice screen. So if they're looking for advice, simply tap I want advice, enter in a little information about what they're looking for, click submit. This gets saved to our servers, where on the other end, somebody who wants to give advice just taps on helping and is greeted with a list of everybody who's currently looking for advice. They just tap the one that they feel like they can help with, and then from there you're connected to an anonymous chat. We also wanted users to have a way to keep track of their kindness. So we have a karma score. Inside the heart is your score. Every time you interact with the app, or if you're in a conversation and somebody feels that you've really helped them, they can thank you, boosting your karma score. This is then compared to everybody who is currently using Bene. Another feature we're really excited about is the pro helping feature. We like to call this the life coach in your pocket. Essentially, it's for quick and immediate advice, anything from I want to get an essay topic to I want to lose 5 pounds. Just type it in and submit it, and we'll connect you to someone who can help as soon as possible. We are also Apple Watch compatible for the release of the Apple Watch. We're really excited about that.
So just a quick run through of what our monetization strategy entails, how we're going to make money. We're going to be an advertising app. We're going to be integrating ourselves with iAd and Google's AdMob. So essentially how the advertisements are going to work is whenever you select a conversation or start a new conversation, you may see a full screen advertisement. We're going to max out the amount of advertisements users can see at 2 per day. And we're also not going to implement advertisements until we actually have a user base that's sustainable, and we don't think we're going to lose too many by integrating ads. We're also looking at monetizing karma points. Essentially how this would work is somebody who's been particularly helpful on the application would take all these karma points that they've accrued and they'd be able to redeem them for a product from a sponsoring company. And this brings us to user acquisition, which is the most important part of bringing a mobile app to market. So we're going to be advertising with iAd, Google's AdMob, and Twitter and Facebook in order to access some more social spaces. We're going to be pursuing cost per install campaigns, which pretty much means we pay out whenever one of these outlets secures a download for us, as opposed to per impression or per click.
We're also going to be working with mobile action. We're very excited about this because when you submit an app to the App Store, you don't just get immediately tons and tons of downloads. Unfortunately, your app gets kind of lost. In fact, if you're not in the top 150 for your category, it's slim chance that someone will find your app. But with mobile action, we'll be able to have a guaranteed spot in the top 10 for our category, health and fitness, for only $9,200. Yes.
We're also developing, we also have developed a press kit in order to reach out to as many relevant app and tech development blogs as possible to drum up some more organic growth in that respect. So just taking a snapshot look at some projected revenue or some projected profits, 25K scenario, which was our full ask in green, and 12.5 in red. We feel that by investing very heavily in user acquisition in the beginning, we can take up a good amount of market space. Kindly just got into this space in July 2014. 7 Cups of Tea released their app in October 2014. We feel like this is the right time to be getting in here, and if we get the money that we need in order to invest heavily in user acquisition right at the beginning, we feel like we could take up a good amount of market space. So what's our status right now? Well, we're in the App Store. We're live. We've been in the App Store for about a week and a half. We have over 1,100 downloads. We have 700 active users. We have 200 conversations that are going on right now. We're seeing real life app validation. We're seeing, somebody spoke about how they're having, they're nervous about going into surgery. Somebody came in on the other end and spoke about their experience with going into surgery, and they gave, their experience rehabbing. So it was great to see this instant gratification, people helping people right away, just a week and a half into the app being in the App Store. We're also seeing broader market validation. Kindly's only been around since July of 2014. At the end of January, they were able to secure $500,000 in venture capital funding. This shows that there's value in the idea. We're also developing other interactive features such as Facebook integration, a location-sensitive post board for the app, and also getting onto the Android platform. We'd also like to develop other partnerships such as industry, product, and like school-specific by reaching out to companies, conferences, et cetera, getting our names out there where we want it to be. So this brings us to our ask. We're looking for a bit over $9,000 for a couple of separate advertisement campaigns. One of them, the sustained growth advertisement campaign, is in order to actually sustain growth throughout the app's release, and in order, paying out small amounts of money to IAD, AdMob throughout the course of the coming years. We're also going to be looking to pay around $9,000 to Mobile Action to get ourselves into that top 10 ranking in order to secure some organic growth in that respect. We also have a fixed cost of server subscription for around $2,800, legal consultation just to run through our terms and conditions for about $2,000, and some dev costs in order to get onto the Android platform and continue to improve the app.
One more thing is it's difficult to quantify the joy someone gets by giving advice or the relief one gets by receiving it, but the impact Bene is having is real, and with this money, we feel like we can make a huge difference. Thank you.
Please download Bene today.
Great job, Bene.
I have a question and then a comment. What is Pro Helper?
Sure. So it's really while it's similar to our main feature of like giving advice and like receiving advice, it's more for, we like to think of it as more for immediate advice. So like just very quick topics such as like you want to have a quick workout at the gym, or pretty much.
So as opposed to our core feature, which is the post board, where things are just posted there and people can log in and see it, for Pro Helper, somebody who has signed up to be a Pro Helper, they'll get a notification when somebody goes into Pro Helper, and somebody will be they'll be notified immediately. And if they look at it or look at that post, they feel they can help. It's pretty much speeding up the process.
Right. Now, here's my comment. I think you have a good opportunity to become sort of the Angie's List of advisors. In other words, people are going to come in, should I get a divorce? Should I go to a different school? Various things like that. You should be building a database behind this where you can direct people to real professionals in the area, and it could be a huge amount of revenue for you. And it also would help avoid potentially some of the liability issues, because you are competing. Your competition is much broader. I mean, there are cancer support groups, there are chat rooms for a lot of different things. Rather than look at them as competition, look at them as peers and refer people.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Other questions?
Other questions or comments?
Just one. It sounds like this is all, going to be, the chat interface is not like verbal. Is that, just to clarify, that's 100%?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
just wanted to clarify that.
I guess I'll go. I'm so happy this is in the App Store, and I hope you crush. I totally have so many reservations myself, and what I would love is to just be proven wrong and you can come throw money at me. Here are three very fast ones. I think you're significantly underestimating the cost for user acquisition. It's really, really expensive. And the world is littered with people who will promise to get you things. I mean, I think pay on download is good, so it avoids at least one of the companies who's out to fleece people exactly like you, and there are a lot of them. I worry about that. Like, this thing better work on its own a lot, and then you accelerate it with advertising, but it's just too expensive to acquire customers with the kind of money you're talking about. Litigation. If you get big, you should put much, much, much more money into legal services, because the first time someone says, but I went on here and they told me to get nightmare. And then my core thing is, what's in it for the mentor? Like, I'm that guy, right? I coached my kid's soccer team. I'm here today. And I just, not to be gross, but when I look at Tinder, I understand what people are in it for. When I look at this app, I immediately understand what's in it for the would-be predator, but I don't immediately, and I understand what's in it for the asker, but I just don't understand the motivation of the person who's like, I would be a good person to ask about whether you should get a divorce, and I'm going to download an app to answer, like, I just don't see it. And again, I say all that very respectfully and hoping that you just kill.
So as far as what's in it for the person who's helping, that was the methodology behind creating the monetization of karma points so that they could redeem them for products. You get karma points significantly faster by being thanked.
But to make that to make that convincing for me, you need to say, and we have talked to so-and-so and they're on board, and we talked to the American Cancer Society and they knew guys who were at Walmart who said we'd love to, like.
Well, we can also say from initial response, we have about twice as many people looking to help than who are actually looking for help.
That's a great answer. So let's see if it continues.
Any other questions? Gotta just love a snappy comeback like that, huh?
That's great.
Any other questions? Okay, let's give it up for Bene. Good job. Good job. So we recognize that here at CC that to do an innovation program like this really requires a broader community. And so we're so appreciative of all of our alumni engagement, mentoring and helping teams, but also really appreciate all of the community mentors. And I wanted to just recognize a few this year. In particular, I'd like to give kind of a special thanks to Michael Hannigan. I see you're here, Michael. Michael's CC alum, has really been kind of an innovator in residence, particularly helping out with the team of social entrepreneurship. We appreciate the partnership with Peak Startup, Chris Franz, Nick Lee, Ian Lee, and others, and really appreciate the contribution they're making in the community. Epicentral Co-working has been really generous with us, and thanks to Frank and LT. We appreciate the support of UCCS and the Alpamar faculty. Terry Bolt, Michael Larson, and Tom Dunning have been helpful as mentors, and we've been doing all kinds of programs together, and we even have one team. They're actually out in the hall that is a combined team with CC and UCCS students, which we're excited about. Thanks to the emerging partnership with the Air Force Academy, to Bryce Lucan and Matt Schmidt, along with General Armacost and Chief Scientist Jim Solty. We're exploring programs together around UAV technology and all kinds of different things. We appreciate the support of the Regional Business Alliance, as well as Pikes Peak Community College, and all of the innovation and startup initiatives that are emerging in our community. And we're just humbled and pleased to have a little seat at the table and appreciate all of you. Candidly, I could go on with a much longer list, but let me just wrap up saying a special thanks to all the people who have been speakers and mentors and advisors in the program. I know that the student teams have benefited richly from all of your contributions, so thank you so much for all of that. Okay, Chris, let's come up and do another drawing, and this again on the theme of innovations in outdoor. We have 2 gift certificates for outdoor education programs.
Yeah, like Patrick mentioned, we've been really fortunate to sponsor with the Innovation Institute, and we want to support our student entrepreneurs. So we have 2 gift certificates for $150 in trips and trainings through the Outdoor Education Department. So get those tickets back out, everybody. The first is going to 659370. All right. Someone who's already heavily involved in the Outdoor Education Department, but that's awesome. Nice, Patrick. And next up, we have 659396. Coming down from the top, all right. Cool, well, come find us in the front row, and let's get on with the show.
All right, great. Next up is Colorado Springs Food Rescue with team members Dan Lewis and Meredith Bird, and backup from alumnus mentor Jeff Haney. Take it away.
Hello, we are here today representing Colorado Springs Food Rescue, a local nonprofit that was founded by Colorado College students in the fall of 2013.
My name's Dan, I'm the program director.
And I'm Meredith, and I'm the head of client relations. And today we're going to introduce our big idea of creating the next stage in food redistribution, the Food Rescue app.
First, some background. As it stands, the United States has a highly inefficient food system. Over 14 million Americans are food insecure, and we throw away 40% of our food before consumption. Food Rescue is developed and established to combat these problems simultaneously through an innovative solution. Food rescues prevent food waste by coordinating volunteers to pick up excess food from food businesses and deliver that food to low-income and hungry communities. Food rescues focus uniquely on picking up perishable, highly perishable, and nutritious foods by directly redistributing this food to food redistribution agencies with no intermediaries. Lastly, food rescues use bike transportation as a means to cut down on costs and carbon emissions, and as well as giving a fun and hands-on way for volunteers to participate and give back to their community. Since the first food rescue's inception in 2011, the now 23 food rescue organizations in the world, 4 are international, has redistributed 1.3 million pounds, or million meals, excuse me, of fresh food. Colorado Springs Food Rescue has redistributed 180,000 of these meals, being a leader in the food rescue movement.
So the food rescue model has been successful, but it is quickly encountering substantial issues of inefficiency. With the current model, every food donation must be scheduled far in advance, leaving many businesses with unexpected food excess without a way to donate. The model also relies on long-term volunteer commitments, which leaves many busy potential volunteers without a way to engage. Lastly, each redistribution route takes dozens of hours of administration, challenging the effectiveness and viability of small, low-budget food rescue organizations.
So we need a food rescue model that accommodates unexpected food excess, short-term volunteer availability, and organizational adaptability to supercharge the entire food rescue movement. Our solution is the Food Rescue app. Anytime food donations, real-time volunteer pickups, and multi-city scalability. This is the Uber of food redistribution.
Say I'm a chef who ended up with a few extra hotel pans of excess product for the evening. With the app, the difference between dumping and donating the food is only a minute of my time. First, I log into the Food Rescue app and make a one-time entry of my business location and contact information, which the system then saves for later. Next, I input basic info about the food donation, including pickup time, donation size, and a picture of the food. I submit the information, and the app automatically selects a registered food recipient site to receive the donation, which I can then share on social media.
Now say I'm a volunteer out getting some groceries for the week. The Food Rescue app notifies me when a donation is submitted in real time. With one click, I can view the donation information, including a picture, food handling protocols, a bike location, the time commitment estimated for the pickup, and a suggested route for delivery. With information in hand, I can claim the shift, rescue the food right away, adding 15 minutes of important, meaningful work to my drive home.
Now, say I'm a small food redistribution agency like ourselves, trying to meet the expectations of redistributing large sums of food on a very low budget. For a small usage fee, I can use the Food Rescue app to drastically increase the impact and capabilities of my organization. From researching similar models, we estimate that Colorado Springs Food Rescue alone can expect over 500,000 donated meals from 100 businesses within the first year of using this app. With over 23 food rescues forming within the last 5 years, we estimate that in the next 5 years, there will be nearly 50 food rescues using the app, helping to redistribute over 900 million nutritious meals to those in need.
Our plan is threefold. The first part, we have to develop the app itself. We've been in talks with the Vrelo Development Company about working to actually build off of the current web network that is facilitating a lot of food rescues, volunteer coordination, and pre-scheduled pickups. Second, we need an effective outreach and marketing strategy. We've been working with JSF and Associates to plan effective brand identity and marketing strategies to further outreach to food donors, food recipient agencies, volunteers, and other food rescue organizations. Finally, we hope to scale the system to other organizations around the globe. Using the current Food Rescue Network or Alliance, we already have 5 other food rescue organizations interested in using the system. Our team is led by Meredith Bird, co-founder of Colorado Springs Food Rescue and head of client relations since its inception in 2013.
Our executive director is Shane Laurie, who will continue overseeing strategic planning while our program director, CC alum Dan Lewis, fills in on an operational level until Shane finishes school. CC alumni board member Jeff Haney works as our fundraising director, bringing over 30 years of nonprofit fundraising and for-profit high-level sales experience to our team. And we wouldn't be able to operate without our other 15 CC student coordinators, as well as our many volunteers.
Our financial plan for the app begins with garnering initial investments for the app development, a salary for the system administrator, and marketing development for total expenses just under $50,000. After our first year, we will shift into a plan that relies upon organizational user fees and simple advertising. The advertising plan is twofold. We will solicit corporate sponsors for advertising itself, but also allow app users to opt out of advertisements for a starting fee of just $1 a year. We expect half of app users to opt out. With a projected 250,000 app users and 40 million app views by year 5, we project our accumulated revenue to be over $1.2 million 5 years down the road.
So our big ask for this big idea is $48,500. This includes a $24,000 app development fee, a $19,500 for a first year salary for assistant administrator, and $5,000 for marketing consultation. It's a big ask for a big idea that could add food rescue to the list of known names in the sharing economy and help end excessive food waste and hunger across the globe.
Thank you.
Judges, questions, comments?
You say that your food redistribution agencies are going to pay an annual usage fee. Who are they and what's the usage fee?
Yeah, sorry if that was confusing. So the usage fee is actually for other food rescue organizations, not for the recipient organizations. They will be the same deal with any users that they can opt out on that advertising plans, but it's a really simple powered by advertisement on the app.
And if you're a nonprofit, how does an investor get paid back?
With warm feelings in the heart and known impact.
It's
another good snappy answer.
Yeah.
And good publicity too.
Right. I have a couple of comments, and I'm trying to force you into being for profit, and so forgive me for this. But I actually think you're missing a lot of opportunities. Number one, I think you can charge for removal. In San Francisco, we've adopted a new ordinance where organic waste has to be separated. It is separately collected. It's costing a fortune. Waste management charges a lot for it, as does the other one. I think you can get a fee for that. I also think the major retailers, Safeway, Whole Foods, will pay you to take it away for the advertising value to say they're part of the system. It's just the best advertising possible. And then third, I think I very much appreciate the bicycles, but I think you should not emphasize that. Use cars. Use whatever you can to get this done. You don't have to be completely green, and in fact, it may diminish your ability to go. And with that, given what I just said, you can become Uber and actually probably be paying people to do this. So you can have a volunteer level and a paid level. And for example, you might be able to subsidize some of this. Since you're going to restaurants anyway, you might start delivering restaurant orders that are for fee. But I just think you're undervaluing that piece.
I want to second what Scott, I too am from the Bay Area, and out there there's Uber and there's everything, right? And including, neighbor Woodside, there's probably neighbor Colorado Springs, all these connecting points, and there are fleet management systems that are beyond comprehension. Every company, every telecom has fleet management now, including Verizon, AT&T. So, getting things from one point to another is really efficient. And there are, in the Bay Area, there's Munchery, maybe there's Munchery here, but, they use the ultimate in fleet management. They're delivering stuff using a hub and spoke system, but they're deadheading back, right? So if you were to connect these organizations that are for-profit with, deadheading back stuff that needs to end up in other places, it's pretty simple. I mean, they're looking for ways to spread their goodwill and certainly their technology. It, to me, is a no-brainer. This is really scalable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I also think there's an incredibly ripe market for this, and also for the philanthropic market. I would like to know, though, given your usage fees, are you going to charge your volunteers a
No.
usage fee? So they only are charged for the opt-out, the $1?
That's correct, yeah.
The $1 a year? Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. This is an impressive pivot from last year.
Just in terms of the other, just market research, so there's other food rescues probably incurring some of the same difficulties in distribution. How are they fixing that, remedying that? Are there other alternatives? Is the app the best way, or just a newer way to do that? Are people finding success, I guess?
Yeah, so there has been success. I mean, over £1 million in 3 years, pretty good. But I mean, it's really blood, sweat, and tears, kind of like on the ground work at this point. The app is not unique in that there are real-time donation systems out there. There's no attempt to scale this system that we've found, and there's not a network that anyone has for this kind of system at this point. So those are really the main advantages we have, as well as a network that has a bunch of experience to lend information for what this app could look like.
And that was going to be another one of my comments, which was, I do think you've underestimated your software costs. I think you're going to want to license logistics and calendaring apps. You certainly do not want to build them.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, there are two quick things. There may be a couple of different products here. One is a nonprofit product, which it's okay if it's nonprofit, like it can just be that, and it could be funded by government. The Unitarian Church would, there are a lot of people who would be interested in giving a relatively modest amount to do a thing. Second bucket, what you've done is apply the Airbnb model or the Uber model, which is there is a resource which the market cannot efficiently spread around, and because the market is traditionally a broadcast model, but if we make it peer-to-peer, then we can use that efficiency. When you describe it formally, you've just talked about disintermediating the post office, right? So there's going to be a huge, this is exactly what these two guys are talking to. There are going to be a lot of places, and maybe you build a brand that starts very much in this sort of social awareness. Sadly, the first thing I thought of is you could deliver needles. Okay, don't want to do that. But there are probably a lot of places that you can take a volunteer network and use it to make efficient delivery of stuff. And I would encourage you, whether profit or not profit, to think about the scalability of the model.
Thank you.
30 seconds. The last quick question. Colorado Springs Food Rescue, great job. So in just a moment, we will convene to make a decision, an investment decision. But before we do that, you don't want to leave if you got a ticket, because there's going to be a drawing for the $500. We're going to do the cheering section competition. But I wanted to announce a little bit of news. One of the real themes at Colorado College is to make sure that innovation is about all of the disciplines, that it's across the school. Towards that end, the president's office had put some funding available for innovation in the humanities. And I'm kind of pleased to announce here today that Critical Karaoke has received $5,000 of seed funding as part of that. And you'll get a little taste of Critical Karaoke here in a little bit, and I think you'll agree it is not only innovative, but fun and cool and entertaining. And so again, thrilled to have Professors Stephen Haywood, Ryan Benegale, and Idris Goodwin here, and you're going to get to have a taste of that after the cheering competition and the grand prize drawing. But for now, we're going to shuffle off, and Chris and Jill, if you can kind of lead us through the next steps, and we will be back with checks in 10 or 15 minutes, so don't go away. And now the news. First place, $25,000. Cotty Energy. And teams, in all cases, I know that will want to do pictures afterwards, but congratulations to Cotty Energy. Second place, with $15,000 invested, Idro. Good job, guys. There we go. And third, $10,000 invested, Colorado Springs Food Rescue. Again, congratulations to all the teams on the great work. Please stop by and see the teams afterwards. Thank you, Meredith. And teams, please stay here for with judges as well. And I know all of the teams, judges have expressed interest in following up and being involved kind of beyond tonight. So thank you.
By the way, Food Rescue, you're getting this check with the admonishment that you should work with paid people, paid staff, and start charging for your service, because people will pay.
Okay, great. Thank you all for coming.